It is my distinct pleasure to be afforded the opportunity to share a progress report with the nation with reference to the reopening of the borders and the arrival of the first major scheduled commercial flight that would have landed at the Robert Llewellyn Bracha International Airport on Saturday, 7th November 2020. On the 24th of March 2020, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, informed the nation that the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis would be closed to commercial flight travel effective the 25th of March 2020 due to the impact of the coronavirus. On October 1st, during the Honorable Prime Minister's press conference, the nation learned that the borders of this federation will be reopened to commercial traffic on the 31st of October 2020. In preparing for the reopening of the borders, we looked at several critical factors, including, but not limited to, 1. Health protocols, 2. Tourism protocols, 3. Yachting protocols, and civil aviation protocols, and the development of the COVID-19 bill to protect the safety and security of every citizen and resident in this federation. The National 19 COVID Task Force engaged in a multi-sectorial consultation campaign that delivered an exceptional experience for all incoming passengers that would have arrived in this federation on Saturday, November 7th. The arrival of the passengers began with the warm and hospitable welcome by the masqueraders, who performed joyfully and proudly in welcoming our visitors and, most importantly, our nationals to St. Kitts and Nevis. All incoming passengers were taken to the Welcome Center, where the first 40 arrivals were guided to Station 1. And let me explain what I mean by Station 1. Station 1 is the newly reconstructed medical screening area. The medical screening area, which was manned by medical professionals, indicated that 81 passengers were processed in a total of 90 minutes during the arrival, which equates to approximately 1.1 minute per person. The medical screening area was outfitted with equipment such as computers, tablets, and printers, sponsored by the Pan American Health Organization, otherwise known as PAHO. Same was mirrored at the Vance Armory International Airport on Nevis. From the 31st of October to the 8th of November, a total of 182 passengers have been processed at the health screening area at the RLB International Airport as well as the Vance Armory International Airport, with 122 on St. Kitts and 63 on Nevis. After completing the process in Station 1, passengers were then moved on to Station 2. Station 2 would have been the immigration arrival area. Each arriving passenger entering the Federation would have completed the Immigration and Customs Declaration form online. This form was available at the knatravelform.kn. Again, knatravelform.kn. The immigration checkpoint flowed very smoothly, thus allowing the thorough evaluation and verification on everyone entering the Federation. No incoming passengers were returned to their place of origin. The Chief Immigration Officer, Ms. Mercelyn Hughes, reported that a total of 102 passengers were processed by immigration on Saturday, 7th November on St. Kitts, 81 passengers from the AA 318 flight, Seaborne 9 passengers, and 12 passengers from private charters. The departures from the RLB International Airport were 80 passengers who would have left on the same American Airlines flight. 13 would have left on Seaborne and 8 on private charters. On Nevis, there would have been 16 arrival on the same set day, while 6 departed. Since our borders would have opened, St. Kitts would have seen the arrival of 135 passengers and the departure of 157 passengers, while Nevis would have seen the arrival of 48 passengers and 60 departures. So federally, there was a total of 183 passengers that would have arrived in the Federation since our borders have been open, and there would have been a total of 217 departures. In total, there was a total of 35 flights that would have arrived in St. Kitts, and 34 would have departed. And Nevis, we would have had 30 flights arrive and 30 departed. That's commercial flights. For cargo, we would have had 30 inbound cargo flights and 30 outbound cargo flights on St. Kitts, while at Nevis there were 12 inbound cargo flights and 12 outbound cargo flights. Then from Station 2, passengers would have been moved to Station 3, which is the customs arrival area. The customs arrival area would have transitioned very smoothly. The transformation of this facility facilitated the social and physical distance that we envisaged. The officers used technology to get their work done effectively and with efficiency. 5 canine dogs arrived on the flight and were safely processed in the customs area. Upon completion of the customs area, passengers then would have exited the terminal building onto the outside. While exiting on the outside, they would have been met by Station 4, which would have been the transportation dispatching station. On completion of the border agency verification process, exiting after leaving the customs area, incoming passengers were warmly greeted by the St. Kitts Tourism Authority team led by the Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Raquel Brown, that guided the tourists to the taxi operators. And this is how the process would have worked. Each taxi operator was issued with a number for his or her rotation. The passenger was then issued with a receipt from the dispatcher, which identified the location of residence along with the cost of the trip, amongst many other information. This supported the organization and traceability required in order for us to maintain the corridor of containment. It's very important to also note that every person that would have arrived in the Federation would have had somewhere to go. This control was measurable because of the effectiveness of the use of technology, in particular our travel form, entry form. I also want to highlight that during the taxi operation, there was a total of 29 taxi operators that were utilized on Saturday. 29 total taxi operators. Each taxi operators would have experienced a total of 2 jobs, an average of 2 jobs, on Saturday. And the fares would have ranged from US dollars 16 to $28 per person. I also wish to inform you that the Four Seasons Hotel would have received a total of 8 international visitors. OTI would have received 11 nationals, Wally 4 nationals, the Park Hyatt 10 international visitors, Parkworks 7 nationals, while Royal St. Kitts would have received a total of 51 arriving passengers. The National COVID-19 Task Force continues to work with all of society, in particular the tourism sector, so that we can have a balance between creating economic opportunities as well as combating the COVID-19 virus. Also, equally important to mention the work that continues to be done with the manufacturing sector. The manufacturing sector is being supported so that they can continue operation in a very safe manner. The partnership with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce continues so that we can support the business and commercial sector so they can function safely during this pandemic. Dear citizens and residents, we must commend also the social safety nets that are in place to support the vulnerable in this federation, and also the government's ability to sustain these programs. These have been helpful in ensuring stability in our country. Allow me to highlight the work of the ICT department, the compliance team, SCASPA, St. Kitts Air and Seaport Authority, the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, the Nevis Air and Seaport Authority, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, the National Task Force members, in particular, the Cabinet, in the chair of the Cabinet, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Mitigation Council chairs, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. and the Honorable Wendy Phipps, who today joined us in engaging hotel operators to ensure that the tourism product that is being offered in St. Kitts and Nevis is the best in the region. Tomorrow we will continue our educational drive to ensure resilience in this country by training private security to ensure that they function at maximum or optimum capability when they are deployed. We have seen a number of requests for persons who wish to stay at their homes for private security. So tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the police training complex, private security will undergo training. If you have not registered, please register as soon as possible and attempt to attend this training. I would like to close by saying that misinformation can be a very destructive tool that we must all discard of and focus on the vital information from the credible sources to guide your thinking. We have seen how misinformation, what we call fake news, can actually do harm to the successes that we have gained during this time. Again, I do look forward for you, the viewer and listeners, to engage in us tonight in a very productive dialogue. Thank you.